Hi everyone, glad you could join me. Hope you can hear me. I think we go through this at the start of every one of my lives, but hopefully you can see me okay. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm just double checking on my screen. Hey Karen, hey Ali, lovely to see you. Thank you for joining me. Hey Debbie, good to see you too. Right, let me jump straight to it because well you don't want to look at my ugly face. Let's get straight to the crafting, and I've got some really fab projects to share with you tonight. So let me flip this over, turn on the lights. It's definitely getting darker again, isn't it? You can hear me just fine. Thank you, Ali. Good to know. I know you guys keep me right. So these were the cards that we made with the Saying Thanks kit last week, which you'll remember, and I really love these cards, but I thought there's so much more we can do to be inspired by these cards and by these colours. Last Friday, I was at a special gathering for leaders within Stampin' Up. So within the UK, there was a bunch of us met up in Birmingham, and one of the other demos there, the fabulous Liz Ewell, she had created some stunning cards based on these. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to recreate them to show you. Hey Jane, glad you can join us. So yeah, this is our starting point. So this is the kit that we showed last week. If you weren't here last week, you can always go back and look at it on Facebook. All my previous lives are still there, or you can look at my YouTube channel again, just Craft with Emma, and see all of the past lives that I've done. But this is our starting point. So keep that in your mind. And let's have a look. So the colours that we're going to be using are these ones. So these are the colours that were in those cards. Poppy Parade, Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, Tahitian Tide, which is one of the in colours, and Gorgeous Grape, which is one of my all-time favourite shades, as I know you know. I've also pulled out the ink pads that go with each of these shades and each of these colours. And then I went to pull out the blends, and I got this far and I couldn't find my Gorgeous Grape blend. And I was like, where's my Gorgeous Grape blend? Have I lent them to somebody? Are they in a pencil case? My craft room's a tip at the best of times, so it's not completely unreasonable that they're just not where they should be. But I checked the catalogue and there isn't a blend for Gorgeous Grape. I think it's appalling. I'm going to have to write and complain because it's one of my favourite shades. It needs a blend. So instead of going blends, we're going old school and we're doing the Stampin' Write markers because again, they coordinate and correspond with these colours. And then just to kind of finish things off as well, I've brought in this lovely metallic woven ribbon. So this is the Tahitian Tide metallic ribbon. It's gorgeous stuff. See if I hold it up to the camera, you see you can kind of pull it. It's flat and it's really shiny and it's really lovely. So these are our starting points. So let's get started. So the first card that I want to do is, having just pulled out all of these colors, I'm going to start with a basic white layer. So, and if I'm being perfectly honest, we're going to have basic black card blanks for a couple of these. So let's start. I'm doing two at the same time. So this is me just scoring at 10.5 and then turning my A4 sheet around and cutting at 14.8, and that gives me 2 card blanks. So having done that, then I'm going to cut a basic white layer, which is 14.3 by 10 centimeters, and that, when paired with one of my card blanks, should give me a perfect Whisper White, basic white. Anybody else here remember Whisper White? It was a lovely shade, but that's not the shade we're using. We're using basic white, which replaced Whisper White. Anyway, that's my perfect layer on top. So what I'm going to do, I was kind of inspired by this card, which had the splatters on it. But I thought instead of doing splatters, I'm going to do lines, and I'm going to use the same colours. So all I'm doing, the Stampin' Write markers, they've got a fine tip end and a thick brush end. And if you want a tip for remembering which one's which, the pens have actually got a thin line against the thin tip end and a thick line on the brush end. I will confess to being many years before I realised that that's what they were for. So I'm going to use which am I going to use? I'm going to use a mixture of thick and thin. Let's see how this looks. But I'm just going to freestyle the lines. Am I going to use a mixture? Let's just use the thin for just now. And I'm leaving off the lids because they'll manage without the lids being on for a while. I wouldn't leave them off overnight, but just for a short time will be fine. Oh, my gorgeous grape I've had for a very long time and haven't used the thin ends very much. Let's see how that's doing. Here's a tip. See if any of your nibs go dry like this. I can't believe I'm doing this live on air. You can pull them out. Yeah, see, it's definitely wet enough at the other side. Let's pull that back in. See if that kind of reactivates it a little bit. You know what? Struggling with that one. So instead, I'm going to use my blender pen and my Gorgeous Grape ink pad. There's always a solution. Actually, I wonder what would happen if I just used this pen straight into the Gorgeous Grape. Would that work? No, it doesn't pick up the ink as well. Ah, well. Hey, Linda, glad you could join us. See, that does work, but it just gives me a thick end. Let's alternate between thick and thin, because, see, my thick end is fine. I don't need to worry about that at all. Maybe I need a new one. The marker pens don't last forever, but let's see how we go. Let's do thick on that one. What do you think looks best, the thin or the thick? See if I hold that up. I'm starting to think the thick. I'm going to go over the thick on these lines as well, just to have consistency. What's next? Granny Apple Green has to be one of my favourite greens. I love Old Olive. I always have loved Old Olive, but anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge fan of green apples. So, oops, forgot to do that one down here. Right, I'm not trying to do them straight. I'm putting a slight wave into them just to give it a bit of interest. There we go. Sometimes we can be worried about things being too perfect. Oh, I've smudged already. It's fine. It's going to be fine. Wait and see. We'll cover it up. You see, I was only going to do a corner, but now I think I'll do the whole thing so that I cover up. So I cover up my slight smudge. You can do this sort of card with any colours you want. Do I need to do the whole thing? I could do my... What do you think? Do the whole thing or stop now? I'm going to do my sentiment, and if you think I should keep going, then I will. But let me do my sentiment and show you what that's going to look like, and then you can decide if I need to cover it up with the whole way or not. So this is the one I'm going to be using, the Love for You stamp set, which is one of the new ones out of the spring summer catalogue, and I'm just going to use the For You here. So oops. Going to stick that onto my block and then use, I'm going to just trim this down. No votes yet. What do you think? Stripes on the entire piece of card or just stop where I am? Let me know what you think. You know I value your opinions very highly. Alright, I'm going to ink this up in using my Memento black ink pad. Right, next thing I'm going to do, need to see the sentiment in situ. That's fair, that's fair. I am going to use the dies, so these are the dies that go with this stamp set. And these dies are actually really quite funky because they are triple layer dies. So if I show you, so there's the 4 that fits in there. So you've got the original 4, which you can have very thin or you can have stamped. And then you've got the first outline, which fits on the sentiment. And then you've got like the layering outline. So let's cut this out first for you. You see, now I'm wondering as well, where are my pads, whether the stamped version is best or whether I should do just a basic black version. Let's start with a stamped version, see how we go. And I can do a basic black version as well. Let's see, push this through. I am using my mini cut and emboss at the moment because we actually have quite a cool promotion that's on at the moment. For new demonstrators, you can get the mini cut and emboss machine absolutely free when you get the starter kit deal. And you can have the white version, the standard one like I've got, or you can get a new coloured version which is in boho blue, which is one of the new in colours that's going to be coming out later on this year. So it's very exciting getting a sneak peek view of a new in colour. They don't often do that. I haven't gone for the coloured one yet. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to do it or not. Yes, and before I stick this on, I am going to use foam adhesive sheets. We've only used this once before, or I've only used them once before on a live, but they are very cool. So obviously, you know, we've got our foam dimensionals. This is basically a sheet of foam dimensionals that aren't all cut out. So I'm going to cut this to the size that I want, which is about yay size. About yay. And then this will go through the cut and emboss machine. So it means my entire sentiment will be raised up, which I think is quite cool. Let's see. So I'm going to stick that onto my basic black cardstock. So now the whole thing is on the foam. And then stick that on and put another clear plate over the top. Crank it through. I don't know why I've got this around the wrong way. I prefer to do it with my right hand because I'm right-handed. It's a lot easier now. Step away from the boho blue, I don't need it. But I want it, Ali. There's a difference between need and want, and I do want it. It's very pretty. For anyone who hasn't seen one in the flesh yet, they are very, very pretty. So, right. So there's my black background, which is on a foam pad, so that I can just stick that straight on. And then I was going to put this on the top. I'm now wondering whether I should have done it in black. Because, well, this is going onto a black background, so that still fits. So if I have that there, and then the For You sitting on top, what do we think? What are the comments so far? Maybe use ribbon as the last stripe. You're a genius, Karen. I love that idea. Love that idea. Put it over that last turquoise one. I should have stopped. I shouldn't have done the last purple. But even if I just put that, or actually use the turquoise ribbon against all of the turquoise stripes, that might look really cool. And then just a couple of diamantes at the bottom. How do we like the black on black? Or do you think it needs a colour? I might try, let me try cutting out, right, let's put the lids back on these just for just now. Not because I think they're going to dry out, because I think I'm going to end up, yeah, look already, I'm sticking them all over my fingers. I do have a tendency to stick an elbow in an unopened ink, in a full opened ink pad. See, I'm getting covered in ink. Right, let me do the For You in the little die, and I'm thinking Sweet Sorbet. I'm thinking that gorgeous red shade. Where's the Y? Now, if I'm going to use intricate dies like this, what do I need to remember? Adhesive sheets. I pulled them out before I got started because I thought if I've got them on the table, there's a far higher chance of me actually remembering to use them. Using intricate dies, the trickiest thing is remembering to use the adhesive sheets. So, oh, it's not Sweet Sorbet, is it? It's Poppy Parade. Let's get the Poppy Parades. And yes, I know I pulled full sheets out earlier, but I'm going to my scraps. I need to be better at using up my scraps. And that's what I'm trying to do. If I had a New Year's resolution this year, it would be use more scraps rather than full sheets. Because I've just got so many scraps. So many scraps. Right, let's stick these bits down. Keep going until the Tahitian blue and use the ribbon instead. Yeah. Loving your advice, ladies. Honestly, I really do value your advice on this. Let's try cutting the dies out on this and see what you think. Oh goodness, I'm struggling to get the back off of this. Do you know, I saw a tip the other day that somebody was using their pick it up tool to get the backings off of these things. Goodness, that really made life easier. If you don't already have a pick it up tool, you need it, if only for getting backings off of things. That was an awful lot easier. Right, let's have a look at the Poppy Parade version. Stick that on, get my dies. The little machine is really quite dinky. It's handy if you're travelling, so if you're going to a crop or if you're going round to a friend's house to craft. And don't forget, it still folds up. I mean, that really is quite dinky and quite cute. Oh, I've got a Diamante on mine. Or is it it's a silver pearl. That's hilarious. Yeah, from the Metallics at Christmas. So the mini machine is a really cute, dinky little machine. And let's face it, getting it for free is always a good thing. We all love a freebie. Let's poke this out. Poke out all of these little bits. Remember sometimes when you've used adhesive sheets that the little bits don't poke out quite as smoothly, because obviously you've added a layer to your die cut. Let's see. There we go. Right. Let's start layering up some of this and see what we think. So at the moment, I haven't stuck down my white layer yet because I'm going to wrap some of that Tahitian tide round. If I had that on there like that, what if I then... Do you know, at first I was thinking I need to cut the white layer again, but actually the red with the black, I'm going to show you that up close, see what you think. It just gives a very, very slight black, almost shadow to it. Do you see? I quite like that. Hey Stacey, glad you could join us. I've got a catalogue that's gone out in the post to you today, so I hope you enjoy having a look through it. And coming along to my classes, I have written up all of the dates for my new classes, and I will be putting them, I'll put them on the Facebook group, I'll put them on my website, and I'm going to send an email out to people as well. Now, there are limited spaces for my classes because at the moment I hold them in my home, and I do have limited space in my home, so they're very much on a first come, first serve basis. But we've got some great plans for this year. I'm going to be doing both card club classes where you get to make different cards and try different 3D items and fancy folds and that sort of thing. but I'm also going to be running technique classes where you can explore lots of different card making and paper crafting, different techniques. So that should be exciting. But please give Stacey a lovely welcome from all my regulars to the latest newbie in the group. And if you want to order from the catalogue once you get it, you can give me a phone call, you can shop online, you can drop me an email. Shopping online is the easiest because then you just put your card details onto the website. But if you're not comfortable shopping online, you can place an order with me over the phone and I can deal with everything and help you that way. So, yes. But be warned, it can be a bit addictive, as I'm sure the rest of you will tell her. One of my friends did a meme a while back which said, "I never thought the purchase of one little stamp would lead to all of this," because it's been a fabulously fun journey. Once you get started, I've met so many lovely people and had such a fabulous time since I got into crafting. Right, there we go. There's the sentiment. I quite like that. What do we think? The poppy parade. So keep going till the Tahitian blue and use the ribbon instead. I'll keep going again. So I've done the gorgeous grape. So if I do the red and the yellow, then that kind of leaves that little bottom corner. At the moment, it's kind of half and half. I'm tempted to keep going with where I'm going just now. Oh, hey, Julie, I hadn't seen you on. Lovely to see you. Right, let's do some Tahitian tied ribbon, and I'm gonna wrap that around the back. What I need. Do you know, I thought I was so organised tonight. See if you could see my desk. I have literally everything that I thought I could possibly need, but I haven't got tear tape. Let me just grab a reel of tear tape very quickly. I'm going to have one on my desk here somewhere. There we go. Got it. Right. So things have been very busy in this house today. The bathroom guys have come back to sort the last few things in the bathroom. For anyone that's following my home renovations, things have been progressing, which we're really pleased about. But it does make it very noisy and very cold, and the water got turned off and the heating got turned off as well, which is not good, especially when it's been so cold today. But it'll look lovely when it's finished, I keep saying that. And the most important one, of course, is the downstairs bathroom, which all of you lovely lot get to use when you come to my classes, and for my team as well when you come to team gatherings. And by the way, although I've got all my class dates sorted out, I have got dates for team gatherings sorted out as well. So we're going to be doing them every month, and 1 month it will be in person, and then the next month it will be virtual, because while a lot of my team are in Scotland, I do have other team members that are in other parts of the UK, and I don't want anyone to miss out. So watch out for all my lovely team members who are watching tonight. Watch out for those dates coming over to you very soon. Let's see. Yeah, I think doing the... Do you know what? I'm going to put blue on all of them, and then if you think it's too much, I'll take it off. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but now that I've done it, I'm not so sure. So give me your opinion. Tell me what you think. You know, I love to hear what you girls think. Girls and guys. I know there's guys watch as well. I'm sorry. And to everybody who's watching on replay, hi to you as well. I know you don't get to join in so much in the decision making, but you're still very much valued, and I'm glad that you're here. Right. What do we think? So that's it with the 3. Does it need all 3? Or does it just need the one? Do you know what? I think it does need 3. Let's leave the 3. Unless anybody tells me very, very quickly to the contrary, I'm going to leave all 3. Right, too late. It's done. go. Right, so that's the card stuck down onto my black card base. Just the one. Sorry, Ali, too slow. And I know sometimes there's a bit of a delay on this, and I'm just going to place that and kind of offset. So it's deliberately not in the center. I want it off to one side because I think that's going to look funkier. Let's stick that down. And then you know what comes next. You know I can't avoid it. And I don't want to avoid it. Needs a bit of bling. Of course it does. Of course it does. Gotta have a wee bit of bling. Let's put, I'm just going to put 2 in the corner just to finish that off. So there you go. So that's our For You card. So that was using the Love For You stamp set and the coordinating dies. And the colours that I've used have been Poppy Parade, Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, Tahitian Tide with the Tahitian Tide ribbon, and then Gorgeous Grape at the bottom. Yeah, so what do you think? I know you weren't too slow, Ali, don't worry. I know there's a bit of a delay on it. What do you think of our first card? Do you like it? It's definitely in the same theme as the other ones from this kit, especially when you consider the wording. So, right, that was our first one. Let's now go to our second one, because I do have a couple of cards in mind for you tonight. Where's my sample one? So this is, I'm trying to sort out some of my mess. I do have a little bin here I put all my stuff in so it can go into recycling. Right, so this is the other card, well, one of the other cards from the kit, which is gorgeous in its own right. I mean, this kit is fabulous. But there's other cards which I think we can use with this same, with using this one as an inspiration. Okay, so if I take this part here, so as you know, this bit is basically that part there. So I'm going to punch out, just poke out all of these little hearts, like so. Go. Now this is where something's going to be a little bit interesting, because the kits, you get the cards and the envelopes and all the bits to put them all together, but they tend to be American sized cards rather than UK sized cards. What do I mean by that? Americans have different sizes of sheets of paper. They don't use A4 like we do. They use letter, it's called. And it's slightly shorter in length. So our let's get an A4 sheet here. So if this is our A4 sheet, then the American sheets are a bit wider and a bit shorter. But it does mean that you end up with different sizes of cards. So if we look at the card that I've just made, so this is using a normal, half of A4 folded in half. That's a standard C6 card, you would call it. And then the American size next to it, if you can see, if I just take it off the envelope, you can see that our card is a bit narrower, but it's certainly a lot taller. So that card, see if I show you there, see how the American size card is definitely wider, but if I line it up at the top, you can see ours is definitely longer. So that's going to be interesting when doing this next card, because I'm going to take my basic black. You love the 3 from last week, Stacey. Thank you very much. It is one of my favourite kits that Stampin' Up! Have launched. I nearly said it's my favourite kit that they've done all year. It's the first kit that they've done this year, but it's still a really, really cool card. So what I want to do is I'm going to use these hearts and I'm going to decorate them on a basic black. But am I just going to line them up the same as before? No, I'm going to space them differently because our cards are different sizes. So let me just put these into 1, 2, 3, 5. Right. And I'm going to start off, let's see, just using my Stampin' Write markers to colour these in, and I'm going to hold it down with my Pick Me Up tool so that I don't end up completely covered in ink. Having said that, I've got a feeling I'm going to end up covered in ink anyway, but do you know what? Let's just hope for the best. And when I first thought about doing this card, so by the way, this card is an absolute copy, or a case as we call it, of one that the lovely Liz Yule put together. If you haven't come across the term case before, it's an acronym. It stands for Copy and Share Everything, or Copy and Share Exactly, or Copy and... there's lots of different things that people think case stands for. The one I like is Copy and Share Everywhere. It doesn't have to be an exact copy. You can just be inspired by something that somebody else has done and copy bits of it and share other bits and tweak it to suit yourself. But there's no shame in copying somebody else's ideas. The best thing is always to give credit, which is why you'll notice that I absolutely gave credit to the lovely Liz for her beautiful design. There are problems that come if you copy other people's designs and then try and pass it off as your own. That wouldn't be fair, obviously, but I'm sure you lot are all lovely and you would never dream of doing anything like that. But yeah, so when I first saw her card, I thought, should I prep some of these in advance? You know, is this going to take too long? And then I thought, no, I want to do it in real time, because if I prep it in advance, everyone watching will think, oh, that card's going to take hours. I don't want to do that. So if I do it in real time, you'll see it doesn't actually take that long at all. I also looked, because I will be honest, I would have preferred to use blends to colour in, because I think blends give better coverage. But the Stampin' Up! Markers are actually working fine, and they give an interesting texture, which is always nice when you're doing different cards. There is a monthly subscription kit that you can buy, Stacey. So I do a class by post, and when your catalogue arrives, you will see a flyer that's in that. And basically every month you get a box full of goodies through the post from me. It costs £25 a month, and you get a box full of goodies along with the designs to make 4 different cards, 2 each of 4 designs, so you make 8 cards in total. And it's a good way to gather bits and pieces from the catalogue without having to commit to buying lots and lots of stuff. Especially when a new catalogue comes out, you can sometimes think you want it all, but unfortunately our purses don't always allow that. But it's nice to be able to get, you know, a quarter of this pack of DSP or a half of that reel of ribbon without having to buy the whole thing. And the other question about the hostess code. So if you're placing an order yourself, and that order, or if you're placing an order to share with friends, and that order comes to £150 or more, then you get hostess freebies, which you can spend on Stampin' Up! Products. You can choose any ones you want. But if you're not spending that amount of money, which a lot of people don't spend that amount of money, then if you use the hostess code, the one for each month, and I put it on my Facebook page and it's on my lives, then I will send you a little gift through with your order, because it just means that I'm the hostess for that particular month, and then I spend all the freebies. I group together all the freebies and use them for gifts for my customers. So that's what the hostess code is. But it's a really good question. Oh dear. Right. This isn't taking that long. I haven't put you all to sleep yet. You're all still awake and watching. Yeah. Hopefully you're all staying safe and well. My poor husband, for those of you who've met Tom, he's unfortunately got a really nasty chest infection. He's on his 3rd set of antibiotics now, and had to go for a chest x-ray today, so a little worried about him. He's coughing quite a lot. He has been very good though, and doesn't seem to have passed it to me. Long may that last. But there's so many bugs going around at this time of year. I think you're lucky if you manage to escape something. We know it's not COVID. We've done COVID tests and he's okay with that. But let's see. Right, I'm starting off with 5 of each, and then I'll lay them out, but we might need to do more. Yeah, goodness, my gorgeous grape really is needing replaced. That's a good sign as well. I mean, these pens do last a long time, but they don't last forever. And you can tell that this is one of the ones that I've been using more often than the others. Just to put that in context, I think I've had my gorgeous grape pens 7 years, 6 years, 7 years. Definitely had them a while. So when I say they don't last forever, they don't, but they also last a fair amount of time. So it's not the sort of thing that you'll be replacing every week. And you'll see the other ones that I don't use quite so frequently are still going strong. They're still going fine. So let's see. Oops. Yeah, if you want to come over and nurse poor Tom anytime, I'm sure he'd be very grateful. In fact, I can hear him coughing away upstairs. He plays his computer games with one of his friends on a Wednesday night. So, although I was saying to him the other week, we should do like a collaborative one, because he really liked this kit as well. He loved the colours on it. And he was saying that he'd quite like to because he does some beautiful card making. He's made some gorgeous cards for me in the past. And so if anybody is interested, you know, let me know, and I can pitch it to him if he wanted to do a Tom and Emma crafting special together. In fact, actually, one of the things we've done in the past, and we may be thinking about doing this year, is a couple's Valentine's night. So if you want to make a card for your other half and get your other half to make a card for you, you can both come along as a couple. And Tom sits with the guys, and I sit with the girls, and we sit with the craft room because we're the best ones, and they can go into the dining room, and you can each make a card for each other. So that's a fun thing which we've done in the past. If there was interest, we could do something like that again. Although I do know from past experience that while the ladies would love handmade cards, the guys are often a bit reluctant. Tom's very good with them though. Show them a gadget like the Stamparatus or the Stamp and Emboss or the heat gun. Tom's got his own heat gun, and so anything that's to do with fire usually gets guys quite interested. And we can do some really pretty cards together. Which reminds me, one of these cards that I make tonight really must be a wedding anniversary card, because it was my wedding anniversary Monday. And I have yet to give poor Tom a card. It's shocking, isn't it? I make cards for a living, and I can't even give my poor long-suffering husband a card for his wedding anniversary. I did manage to make one for my in-laws' wedding anniversary. It was their anniversary on the 1st of January. Who gets married on the 1st of January? Anyway, it was their wedding anniversary on the 1st of January, and I had made I'd made quite a cool card for them. In fact, it's one of the cards from my January class by post. So it's a cool infinity card, not dissimilar to the one that we did a couple of weeks ago, the one that you keep opening, but it was a lot larger and it had a different kind of flap bit on it. So yeah, I made that for them for their wedding anniversary. Right, enough waffling, Emma. Let's get down to this. I've stuck these foam pads on the back of all of my hearts. And these are the black ones. So can you see there? There's black foam on there. Because we do have, and I've got them here, we do have the white foam pads, of course. These are the mini ones rather than the bigger ones. But because I've got a black card base, having black foam pads makes a lot of sense. Let's get my bin out. Okay, so when I'm starting with this, I'm going to start in the center. Use I'm just going to pop one on there. I should have done these all off to one side before I got started. And then let's just stick these on. When you're doing this, right, top tip for positioning, I'm going to get a ruler and I'm going to use my grid paper and just line up. So I'm lining up the top of my card with a line on the grid paper. Then I'm lining up my ruler with the ones again on the grid paper. And then I'm using that to help me position my hearts, because then they're going to be relatively straight. Now, it's okay if they're not perfect. It's absolutely okay not to be perfect. But there we go. Oh, did the screen go black there? Can you still see me? Don't know what's going on with my camera. Maybe just a Wi-Fi glitch, but hopefully I'm back again. Right, once I've done the red line, let's now just move down a level and do the yellow. And then the same as before, just gonna have my ruler there to help me find the right lines. Did that go dark for everybody else, or was it just me? We've got pretty good Wi-Fi in this house, but I do remember that Tom's playing his computer games at the same time, so sometimes it's a battle who gets the best internet access. I would say this is a little bit of a fiddly card. So, you know, in the kit that you get, you can make 4 each of the 3 designs. So you could, in theory, make all 4 of these. I'm not sure I would, because it's a little fiddly. I can't find the yellow heart. Okay, I'll find, oh, there it is. There's my 5th yellow heart. Peeling off all these bits. It's interesting as I stick them down, not all of the hearts are the same shape. They've got slightly different quirky cutenesses to it. Right, and you'll see again, hey Debbie, glad you're here. You'll see I'm going down these in rainbow order. Now, when I was at school, I got taught about Roy G. Biv, who was the cat that fell off the rainbow. And Roy G. Biv, obviously red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So that's how I remember the order of the colours of the rainbow. But I know other people got taught different things. Tell me, anybody else here? Did anybody else here get taught about Roy G. Biv? Or how is it you remember colours of the rainbow? Because I think there's different acronyms. Is there Richard somebody, I think is the one that Tom knows. How to join the monthly subscription kit, Stacey. There is a flyer in with your catalogue. So when that catalogue arrives, that will have all the information. You can also find information on my website, which is www.craftwithemma. And if you go to classes, there is one called Class by Post. And that's my monthly subscription one. So you can find the information on the website, or it will be in with your catalogue when that arrives. Although I know that the Royal Mail, I'm not sure they've recovered yet from Christmas. And I know obviously there's strikes and stuff that have been going on as well. So hopefully it will reach you without delay. Richard, yeah, Richard of York gained battle in vain. That's the one which Tom knows and talks about. Roar on ye grizzly bears in vain. Julie, I have never heard that before in my life. Grizzly bears. Wow. That would certainly be one for all the bloodthirsty kids. You would certainly remember that one. Right. Now, obviously, I'm getting partway down here, but I think I'm going to need an extra couple of rows at the bottom. And if you consider the original card, it had more than just 5 rows. So let's just keep going with these, and then I think maybe another red and yellow one along the bottom might be the way forward. Yeah, I think another 2 rows is probably all I'm going to manage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's going to have to be just another one row because of the amount of hearts I've got left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then those 2 as well. How can I do this? Oh, I know how I'm going to do it. See? Getting all these ideas. You've never heard of any of them. It's just one of these things that I know I got taught at school, but I suppose different schools teach different things, don't they? So, right, so then I've got these remaining 5. So I'm going to do one of each. Oh, wrong side. This hasn't been that long a card to do, has it? I don't know if anybody started timing me at the start. Although, I suppose I started the live just about past. And this is the second card. And I do have a third card to show you, but the third one's much quicker. So, I appreciate it might be too long for some people. So if you need to drop off, I understand. But the third and final card is just a very quick one, I promise. And it's been lovely chatting to you as well. I love crafting with all of you on a Wednesday. Space at the bottom for a sentiment. That's exactly what I'm going to do, Karen, because there's 2 spare hearts, and I have an idea. Where are my foam pads? Right, let's just put this on. So I will place this before I stick them down, and you can tell me what you think. But I'm thinking one of each of the 5 colours along the bottom, and then the last 2 have them in, right, either on either side with a sentiment in the middle. Actually, no, that's what I do. Right. You move those ones down to the bottom, and then in between you have the white with the sentiment in the middle? Or do you think it should be 2 white to the side and the sentiment offset? I'm leaning towards one at either side. What do you think? Have a think about that, and I'm going to pull out an appropriate sentiment. So, let's see. One at each side. Vote there at the moment. Bye, Debbie. See you next time. I understand I've taken too long tonight. Right. Let's see. One at each side. Another vote for one at each side. I think one of each side is probably going to win this one. Right, what I'm doing with the sentiment, just in case you're wondering, is I'm using my brush markers directly onto the stamp itself. When you're doing that, you always want to start with your palest shades and then get darker. Because if you start with dark shades and then add pale ones, you run the risk of transferring some of that dark ink onto a pale pen, and you don't want anything to spoil your pens. So remember, you're always going from light colours first to dark. Let's see how this works. This is a bit of a gamble. The other thing when you're doing this with marker pens is you huff on it before you stamp it. Let's give that a try, see how it works. Hey, that's quite cool. multicoloured sentiment. Pleased with that. Right, and then I was going to cut it with a trimmer, but actually I'm just going to freestyle it and do some weird and wacky, wavy shape that's just a bit funky. Let's cut off that excess piece here. There we go. Wibbly wobbly sentiment. Right, let's stick these down first. So the best way that I can do this to position them is let's do my white hearts first. One on either side. Let's see. Ooh, journaling can be fun too. I have done some classes on mini albums, and in fact it's a shame that Debbie Dickey has just left, because she and one of her friends, Marion, have been over for quite a few mini album classes, and we've had so much fun doing them. In fact, even at was it the last team gathering or the one before, ladies? Can you remember? We've done some mini albums together, and that's always good for journaling. There's so many different ways that you can be inspired with paper crafting, which I think is lots of fun. There's no right or wrong way to do things. It's just go with the flow, she says, winging this desperately. Right, let's pop them in. Now I'm wondering, should the sentiment be up on foam pads as well, or should it be flat? What are your thoughts? Let's see, just stick that one on there like that. That one goes in there. Right, so this either goes completely flat in amongst everything else that's raised, or it goes raised as well. What are your opinions? Part of me's thinking flat. Oh, while you're deciding that, where's my bling gone? The white hearts are crying out for some bling, aren't they? Let's put a couple of little bits of bling. You think flat as well? Yeah. I think you have good instincts, ladies. Let's put some bling in the centre of each of those. Right. And then let's just, my tear tape's here and it's to hand, let's use that. There we go. Here's this. Honestly, this is revolutionised what I do, using your pick it up tool to peel off the backings of these things. Just makes life so much easier. There we go. How's that? I think that's really, really fun and funky. If we look at the original card was lovely. It was very, I think it was paler. This one's got more of the pastel shades on it, but putting a black background on it and colouring in all of the hearts that just came out of this one here. It's just given it a whole new look, a whole new vibe. So don't be afraid to use all your offcuts from these kits. You know, just because you've made the card and you've poked out all of these hearts doesn't mean you can't do something new and different with it. The white hearts could be black too. Yeah. Could be black too, or could be flat too. I think if you did the white hearts black, you might lose them against the background. Just thinking. Cool. All right, so those are the two cards that we've done tonight. Do you want to see the other card that I had planned, or shall we save that for the next week? I'm going to, while you're deciding that, I'm going to just cut an insert for this one, because remember, anytime you do a black card, actually I'll just cut the inserts for both of them, you need to remember to put an insert inside, or else nobody's going to be able to read anything that you write. Although I suppose you could always use metallic pens or something like that inside, but why make life difficult? Have I just cut that the wrong size? No, I did. Cut it the right size. One more card if I've got time. Of course I've got time. My Wednesday evenings are blocked out to craft with you. Right, there we go. So there's my white insert to go inside of each of these. Let's now do the final card. Okay, I'm going to use this one here, and because it's, see, I've already used my black card blank. Let's use a purple card blank for this one. This is my Gorgeous Grape. Really do love Gorgeous Grape. And just to mix things up a little, I'm going to do a different opening on the cards. So the two that I did before, I almost consider this just like standard openings. But this one, I'm going to have it, I think they call this a tent fold, where it opens from the top. So let's do that. So here's my card blank. Like that. Right, next thing I'm going to do is cut my layer to go on top, and it's the same as before. Small stamped image inside, absolutely. It's always a lovely thing to make the inside of your cards just as pretty as the outside. In fact, Debbie Prince, one of the lovely ladies who was on earlier, and she watches a lot of the time on replay, the insides of her cards are always beautiful. She always stamps something on the inside of the cards I've had from her. But the other thing that's good to do, never send out a naked envelope. So the envelopes that come with this kit are all beautifully patterned. So be inspired by that and remember to decorate your envelopes as well. Right, somebody had talked last week about this card, and it would make a really good mask that you could use with different colours. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use our 5 colours, and I'm going to use this as a mask. And when I thought about using it as a mask, I was like, oh, if I use it as a mask, then it'll be spoiled and I won't be able to use it on one of the card bases before. But if I turn it over, use it on the other side, then I'll still be able to use it. So this is my plan. And basically, we're almost recreating this card, but we're going to do it in UK sizes. And I know I've said a Gorgeous Grape. I may yet change my mind on that one and go do a basic black. I'll be guided by you, my lovely watchers. You can tell me which is the best way to do it. Right, blending brushes. Blending brushes are fabulous for getting ink on to your cards and using a mask. It works really, really well. These are the mini blending brushes, which are new in the Spring Summer catalogue. And I'll be perfectly honest, I'm not entirely sure what the difference is between the big ones and the mini ones, other than their size. Let me just show you. So this is one of the larger blending brushes, and this is one of the mini ones beside it for comparison. So you still got the same depth of bristle, and they are just so soft. I mean, they really are incredibly soft. There's quite a few of you who are watching tonight that I know I've done blending brush classes with you in the past. I am going to be doing a technique class on blending brushes and all the different things you can do with them. But I thought tonight, let's try the mini ones, see what they do. So I'm going to use this as a mask, and again, you can see it's too wide and shorter than an A4, like a C6 card, but that shouldn't matter because I still want to have hearts here. We'll just have a little bit of band at the top and it'll still fit. And as before, I'm going to start with my paler colours and work up to my darker ones, just because then it means that I don't run the risk of getting ink transferred across different ink pads. So with your blending brush, just backwards and forwards, pick it up directly onto the ink pad. You can see that there's ink there. And then all I'm going to do is, let's see, start with a bit here. And then let's move to some Gorgeous Grape. Not Gorgeous Grape, what am I saying? Granny Apple Green. Now, when you do this, I haven't stuck the mask down at all, so if you lift it for any reason, you need to make sure you line it back up again and get it into the right position. And yes, I am using a different brush for each of the colours. You don't have to. Now, the brushes are sold in packs of 3. You can wash them, and I have very successfully run these underneath the tap and got all the ink out, and they've been perfect to use with another colour. But then you need to let them dry afterwards. And because of time and because I want to just crack on and do these without going and washing and drying stuff in between, I'm using one per colour. What I do for my large blending brushes is I have one that I use for all of the reds. So whether it's Poppy Parade or Real Red or Sweet Sorbet, it kind of doesn't matter. I use the same blending brush for all the reds, but I would use a different blending brush for pale pinks, for example. And I would have another one that I would use for all the greens and all the blues, and maybe like one for darks and one for pales. And so it's up to you. You can have as many or as few as you like. It just depends how often you're prepared to do the necessary cleaning. Right, I'm going to do some more, leaning an awful lot towards my Tahitian Tide. Did anybody see my Blue Monday post when I asked about your favourite blues? Quite a few people said they liked Tahitian Tide, which is a lovely shade. Certainly good for holidays and for nice bright blue type cards. Let's see. I think I'm just going to use a wee bit more. Running out of space here. No, not going to use Sweet Sorbet. I'm going to use more Granny Apple Green down here. Just make that a bit brighter on that green. Right. Ta-da! There we go. There are pastel-y shades, mops of hearts. So let's just very quickly close up these ink pads. You like them all, Ali. Don't blame you. It's very hard to choose sometimes. But happily, Stampin' Up! Has lots and lots and lots of colours we could choose from. Right. Oh, and by the way, you saw that I used that as a mask, but ta-da, still perfectly fine on the other side to use with the kit and to make the card that's as part of the kit. So, what are we thinking? The Gorgeous Grape background, or do you think it needs another basic black? Have a think about that while you decide. I'm going to get a sentiment done in here. I think this could be a congratulations card. I do have quite a few people to congratulate this month, so I've talked a lot already about some of my lovely team because a lot of you are watching. Myself and some of my lovely team, we have a 10-year anniversary today. Not today, this month. Stampin' Up! Recognises certain milestones, and 10 years is one of them. And 10 years ago today, or 10 years ago this month, I rejoined Stampin' Up! I had joined previously under a different team. My upline had only joined a couple of weeks before I had, and she always said we should have done it the other way around. She had dropped very quickly, and for a whole variety of reasons, I decided to move on and join a different team. And so that was something that I did 10 years ago this month. So, Gorgeous Grape. You think we should go with the Gorgeous Grape, ladies? I agree. Let's do that. So yeah, when I did that, there was quite a few of my team that came over with me. And so this month marks 10 years for myself, for the lovely Debbie Prince, who was on earlier, and the also lovely Girls, who I believe is also watching. So I do have a few congratulations cards to send out to lovely team who've been with me for a very long time. Some of the amazing friends that I've made along the way and who I value really highly. Yeah, I'm getting very soppy here now. Sorry about that. But I'm very proud of them and I have so much fun with them. And I look forward to many more fun events and fun times. Right, there we go. So a quick congratulations card, just using the blending brushes to put some colour in, using the layer out of the kit, but flipping it over and using it as a mask, and then layering it up on my card blank. So I think that's probably enough for tonight because we're over the hour now, but oh, where's the first one that I did? There you go. So first, second and third, those were the 3 cards that we made this evening. Do you have a favourite? If you do, let me know which one is your favourite. If you've been inspired by any of these cards and you make your own creations, please do share them with me. You know, I love to see the stuff that you make. And yeah, I hope you've had fun. Let me just flick back to getting to see you very quickly before I say bye. Right. Thank you very much. It's been a lovely evening, been lovely chatting to you. Welcome again, Stacey. It's been lovely getting to see you for the first time. As always, if anybody's got any questions, anything you want to know, anything you want to ask, then you can drop me a message on Facebook, or you can send me a text message or an email. All my details should be available. And yeah, happy crafting, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.